Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, visit www.indianasfinest.com. We want to thank our good friend Eddie Garrison for pushing the buttons and helping get us on the radio waves across the great state of Indiana. Here in studio, we also want to thank the man behind the camera. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's thanks to the efforts of Mr. Tom Trial. We'd like to direct everybody to www.indianatrooper.org. We are hiring. We're always hiring. We're looking for good troopers, good people out there. If you know somebody who would be a great trooper, get them to our website, get information about our hiring process, and we'd love to recruit and have a talk with them. So my guest today, back because he's so good, has so much knowledge, is from our Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division, Lieutenant Tyler Utterback. Thanks for coming.
You know, I'm a little disappointed. This is one of the few times I've been here where Mike Pruitt's not been here. So I'm not. Is he doing your yard work today?
You know, I don't think Mike does any yard work anywhere, not even his own.
That's
when you have
true.
3 or 4 full-time jobs like he does, he's pretty busy.
Yeah.
But no, we certainly do miss our good buddy Mike. But no, it's that time of year. We brought you in because people's routines are changing, and a lot of that changing involves school buses on the roads in the mornings, in the afternoons.
Yeah.
It's just time to pay attention and be aware of those buses out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've, I could sit here and think of a couple tragedies that happened in the last couple of years, and these are things that just should not happen. There's really, there's no accident about it, and it just should never happen. And it's kind of, it's completely avoidable.
Yeah, and again, people may not know it, but the Indiana State Police touches every single school bus in the state of Indiana.
We do, sometimes more than once. We do approximately about 16,000 school bus inspections every year done by an Indiana State Police officer. And good news is that the first time through the inspection, we've got about an 83% passing rate for school buses. So majority of your school bus organizations, they take it serious with the very stringent equipment specifications and all the rules around that. So
and of the 27% failure, a lot of those are probably very minimal that can be fixed almost right away. A light bulb and something.
That's right. I mean, if you'll ever watch some of those inspections, they usually have their mechanics there with a cordless drill and a couple of light bulbs, and they're ready to just go ahead and change it out. And and they're not allowed to get going until they do have those defects fixed.
Yeah, so rest assured that the school buses on the road are annually inspected at least, sometimes more often if the bus is a little older. But that's just the physical inspection to make sure the bus is safe. We need the drivers out there to do their part to keep our kids safe.
Yeah.
So let's break down the law about when to stop for a school bus.
Yeah. The school buses have yellow flashing lights that will be flashing prior to the actual stop. And this is going to be very similar to the yellow lights you see on automatic traffic signals. Maybe I would ask that you take them a little bit more seriously and not try to beat that yellow light before the bus driver throws out that stop arm.
Mm-hmm.
So that means when you see those yellow flashing lights, you need to be prepared to stop because, and I tell you, if you see those yellow flashing lights, that means there's going to be some young kid looking to get on the bus. So there's somebody in the area that you might want to start scanning your field of vision and see if you can't find a youngster approaching the side of the road.
Yeah, there are a lot of pedestrians out, but we expect a lot out of our children, but they're still children, and they see that bus, they get excited. They may cross the road before they stop. But in the state of Indiana, the only time you don't have to stop for a school bus that has red lights and a stop arm extended is if you're on a divided highway that's divided by a physical barrier. A concrete wall, a grass median, something that you can't drive through.
That's right. It's not designed to drive on. Everybody in the same direction that the bus is going needs to stop, but all the traffic on the other side of that median that has a barrier does not have to stop.
The way that I simplify it is this, and you would probably agree. What should somebody do if they're approaching a bus and they start seeing lights flashing and they're not sure what to do?
Yeah.
Stop.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't know, if you're not sure, you're like, gosh, I'm not sure if I'm fitting in the law, or I'm approaching from a 90-degree angle, so what do I do here? If you're not sure, just stop. That's the safest thing for everybody.
I would also warn motorists to be cognizant of the fact that school buses are going to be required to stop completely at railroad crossings, even though there's no train or no signals flashing. That bus is going to stop, and you need to be aware of that, because they may, all of a sudden be turning on their hazard flashers and stopping for what you appear to be no apparent reason, but that's what they're having to do.
Yeah, and again, it's all in the name of safety. I mean, every single day, tens of thousands of children, our most valuable asset, our most precious asset, are on these buses. And everybody should drive like their children are on that bus.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And so driving around the bus, stopping when it stops. What about maybe some tips that you can give parents for getting your kids to the bus, getting your kids off the bus, standing on the side of the road?
We see, and I know there's a lot of parents out there that walk their children out to the bus stop, sometimes depending upon age. But as they get older, some of the teenagers, they don't have mom and dad sitting there waiting for them. But I could tell you need to teach your kids to make eye contact with that bus driver. Don't start to walk out into the road until you've made eye contact or have developed some type of nonverbal hand signals or eye contact with that bus driver that he or she's giving you the A-OK. It's okay to go ahead and cross the road and proceed to load onto the bus. Or, it's obvious when you're getting off the bus driver's going to have a little bit more control on being able to open the door or not. But for loading the bus, have that eye contact, wait for those signals, nonverbal or whatnot, and be prepared if you have to just wait it out, because there's going to be some motorists. Unfortunately, there's a lot of violators, and we get complaints all the time. Yeah, people just driving right past that stop arm.
And we've actually had a lot of successful prosecution based on school bus cameras.
We have.
So those people that think they can slide by that stop arm, or it's taking too long, and they've got somewhere they need to be, keep in mind that just because we're not there in that moment, we've had some successful prosecutions, a lot of successful prosecutions.
We follow those up very seriously.
Yeah. And so, again, make sure that if your child has to cross the road to get to a bus stop or get off the bus, make sure they're watching for that car to stop before they proceed. And I know that's a huge ask for a lot of children, but it's important that we teach that and we talk about that.
It gets cold and rainy and all the elements, and, oftentimes you'll have a parent drive a child to the bus stop and they have to get out of mom and dad's vehicle, and then they want to make this mad dash into the street or the roadway. And so, we have to do our part to try to avoid and be aware of the fact that there's going to be motorists out there that aren't going to obey the law. They're distracted, they're impaired. Unfortunately, they're out there.
And I know some bus drivers, and they talk about one of their biggest pet peeves outside of people running the stop arm is somebody sees a bus coming, they pull right out in front of it because they know what it's like to be stuck behind a school bus on a route. But that's very dangerous too. I mean, people are causing these bus drivers to slam on the brakes because they're selfishly don't want to be behind the school bus, so they try to beat the bus.
Yeah. I don't know what the statistic would be, but you're talking about a very minimal delay in your time, as far as a matter of seconds. And how often are you going to be behind a bus that's going to make 15, 20 stops? You might be talking one or two stops, right. It's just not worth the risk.
Well, and the buses in my school district, you could almost set your clock to them. I mean, same time every day they're going by.
That's right.
Within a minute or two. So you should know. I mean, if it's on your way to the commute and there's bus stops along the way, you should adjust to the time that you're leaving.
That's right.
For that.
That's right.
But again, it's all in the name of the safety, and we reiterate this, but it seems like every year we respond to some sort of tragedy involving a school bus, whether the bus itself is in a crash or somebody runs the stop arm and tragically hits somebody. We just need people to limit their distractions and pay attention to what's going on.
That's true all the time, but especially this time of year. And I'd like to, the other aspect too is, parents need to tell their children, be respectful and mindful of that bus driver. The bus driver's got a lot of responsibility there, a lot of things to think about, safely operating a vehicle, making sure that child's getting on or off the bus. Last thing that they need to worry about is a lot of stuff going on the bus that shouldn't be going on, and kids just need to understand it may not be the most delightful trip, but it's going to school, coming home from school. It's maybe a temptation to roughhouse and cause all kinds of trouble, and that's just a distraction that bus driver doesn't need.
The other thing that we're seeing in the state of Indiana is a shortage of school bus drivers. I mean, I think almost every school in my area has signs out, hiring bus drivers, looking for bus drivers.
You see it everywhere. School bus driver is going to need a Class B CDL with a school bus passenger endorsement. They have to have what they call a yellow card, so it's an initial 3-day training and then about 8 hours of training every year. But I could tell you that these school corporations, they're begging for drivers, part-time, full-time. Mm-hmm. Some of them pay fairly well, and they will give you all the training. You don't have to apply with already having all the credentials, a Class B CDL. They'll take you through the training. I'm sure that some of them will even pay for it all.
Yeah, I believe.
And I could tell you also that I've heard of school corporations working it out so that if you have a child that goes to school and attends that school, they'll make arrangements so it's fine for that child to ride the bus with you and the routes that you need to take. That they really have been. They work through all that logistics to try to make it advantageous for anybody who might want to entertain doing that part-time. It's usually, a split day, morning, afternoon, and sometimes they give you things to do in between. But I have heard of some school corporations paying as much as $50 an hour. Yeah,
I mean, and you got to think, even if you're only working 2 or 3 hours a day, that's still pretty good for
that's right.
Really good for a part-time job. I want to circle back. One thing that I wanted to mention is if you're in a hurry and you think you're trying to beat that stop arm, remember that running the stop arm of a school bus is more than a citation. It's actually a misdemeanor. It's reckless driving and punishable by jail time.
It is.
And so keep that in mind that it's just a ticket, I'm going to go. It really could be way more than a ticket.
It is. And it's not something that, prosecutors in any county that I know of take it lightly. It is it's something that they pursue very aggressively, and I hate to say they're going to make an example out of somebody, but the last thing they want to do is have to have a trial on another youngster who is ran over just trying to go to school.
And even then, I can't imagine living with that guilt of being so distracted or in such a hurry that you run right through that stop arm and hurt somebody. And I think we've all seen the videos of people even passing on the sidewalk to get around the bus, and it's just certainly not safe. So we want to thank Lieutenant Tyler Utterback for coming in. It's that time of year. We just want to remind everybody, school buses, we have these conversations every time because routines change, and we all typically commute the same way every day. But now we're going to see some buses to and from school. So buses, school zones, you will see an increase in police enforcement in those school zones. Also, troopers like to follow those buses around watching for stop arm violations, but we also rely on the cameras on those buses too. So thanks again to Lieutenant Tyler Utterback from CVED for coming in. The Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids. Everybody buckle up. Drive safe, and we will talk to you next time.